Hey there, everybody. I am Debbie Crowley from ExpressivelyDeb.com, and welcome. Today I have the January 2025 customer card kit video tutorial for you. So all of the kits are out. Everything went out yesterday. Actually, yesterday morning I got everything out in the mail. So you should have them. Today is Friday, so you should probably have them by Monday or Tuesday, next Wednesday, the latest. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the two cards, very simple. We did a lot of layering this month. And for the sentiments, I used the Friends for Life stamp set and the Inked Together stamp set. So these are both available now. The Friends for Life is in the online exclusives, and the Link Together, no, I'm sorry, the Friends for Life, I believe, is in the annual catalog, the current annual catalog, and the Link Together is in the new January to April mini catalog. So both really neat sentiments in those stamp sets, and the Link Together stamp set, but actually both of them have where you can combine the stamps to create custom sentiments. So it's nice. And I did that on one. One of the cards is the thank you. The other card is wishing you the best. So, and that's a combination stamp. Okay. You all got your PDF tutorial inside your card kit, so you'll have that. And let's get going. I'm going to do the first card, which is featuring the Regal Winter Designer Series paper. Both cards actually feature the Regal Winter Designer Series paper, which now is in the, I don't want to say it's in the clearance rack, last chance sale. It's in the last chance sale. So you can find that on my blog, and if you go into shop last chance and then click on the shop menu, go down to last chance sale, and you'll see it. It'll pop up there for you. So the card base for the offset layer card is 4¼ inches across, 5½ in length. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. The card base for the offset layer card, the first card, is 4¼ inches across and 11 inches in length, scored at 5½ inches. And I'm just going to burnish this. Okay. And this is the thick basic white cardstock, by the way. Okay, the first layer, I cut this. This is the Regal Winter Designer Series paper. I cut this with one of the dies from the perennial postage dies, which I love those dies. So this piece measures, I think this is about 3¼ inches by 4½ inches. So we're going to put that down. I'm going to offset this layer, and I'll give you a little trick. I've done it. I've done this before in other videos. So I'm just going to get some glue on this, and we will. So when you're offsetting the layer, and this is such a quick and easy card to make, such a simple card. So what we're going to do is put the layer down, and we want to make sure we have the same distance here and here. So it would be on the top. Any angle is fine. Use your eye to determine how slanted you want your offset layer. But make sure that the corner, the top left corner is about the same distance to the edge of the top left of the card base, and the bottom right corner is about the same distance. And you see that they are, see where both my fingers are? You see that they are just about. You don't have to measure it, but just about. And then the same thing here. This top right is about the same distance as here. Actually, no, it's about the same. The same distance to the right side of the card front, and the same thing down here. And that's what it is. I need a little more glue here. I'm wondering what's going on. Okay. There we go. So see, we have the same distance from here to the bottom and here to the top, from here to the side and here to the side. Same thing here, okay? From top to the top of the card base to the top of the layer, bottom of the card base to the bottom of the layer here. And that means if you have that pretty well centered with the same distance, and this little triangle that forms here is about the same size as this one that forms on this side, same as here, your layer is going to be pretty centered. So that's the first layer. The second layer is, pardon my voice, I have had such a horrible head cold. Okay, this is going to be the same thing. We're putting this where we have about the same distance. See this pretty peacock layer here? It's out. This is about the same, just the same amount of space here and here. Same amount of space here and here. About. And now we know our layers are set nicely. Okay? And then the sentiment, this is a die cut. This is a die that I had in my stash, and I rearranged my stash. I took a lot of my shapes and dies and sentiment banner dies, things like that, and put them onto a magnetic board in my craft room. So I see them now, and I see what I have, and it's so nice for me because I use what I have. Okay, this piece measures 1 inch in width and about 3 1/4 inches long. So you can cut that. And then we're going to stamp thank you onto this, and I did this with Pretty Peacock ink. I put this sentiment up on the front with a few dimensionals. So we'll get those on. Now in your kits, as you're used to, you have everything you need. I did put in a couple of extra sentiment layers for you. I think you have 2 or 3 in each kit, just in case you want to, your stamp crooked, and you can always fix something, but it's nice to have that little bit extra. And then I'm just putting it on the bottom here, probably about 1/3 of the way up on the card front. And that's it. I want to make sure that's straight. Hang on a minute before I press it down. Okay, that looks, there we go. Okay. And then I use the sequins. And these, we have larger sequins. So I had one up here and then a smaller one. And you can place your embellishment any way you feel comfortable. And that is it. The card is finished. So this was a quick, easy, simple layering card. And the only thing you have to pay attention to for this design is when you offset your layers, just make sure your space around the corners of the layers is equal. And you'll have a nice centered offset layer card front. Okay, that's that one. The next one is a little bit fancier. It is a fun fold. And this is I guess you would call it a flip-flop fun fold, but I've seen them all over the place. And I have done this many a time. Different measurements, different dimensions. You can do a vertical on this one. So when you get your card kit, if you want to change up your design a little bit and make this, use all your pieces and parts and make this a vertical card, you can, or the horizontal. Here's your writing layer. Sometimes you put the writing layer here, but I decided to put it on this end and just leave this alone. So the card base on this is very simple, and I just took a scrap piece of cardstock that I have, and I cut the card base 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches and scored it at 5 1/2. And you know, while I have the paper trimmer out, I was referred a customer this month, which I was very happy about. It was very nice. And I spoke with her on the phone, and she needed some guidance. And I asked her if she had a paper trimmer. And she said she did. She had one that she bought. I don't know if I think it was Hobby Lobby. But anyway, I talked to her about the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer because it's so versatile. You have the cutting blade, the scoring blade. You have the arm that comes out to do your 12 by 12s. Great for scrapbooking. And this paper trimmer, you have the side ruler here, on the side here, so you can do whatever cuts you want to make. If you want to make a fancy fun fold, lift your blade, go to your side ruler measurement, drop it and cut. There's so much you can do. It's so convenient. It's easy to use. So keep that in mind. And if you have any questions about the paper trimmer, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. So here's the card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is scored at, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. What I did on this one, I took 3 inches off of one side. So here's the card front. This piece, the 3-inch piece, is going to be this little front piece that you see here. So you can write that down, 4 1/4 inches by 11, score at 5 1/2, then cut 3 inches off one side. And that will give you your card base for this fun fold. Okay, that's it. So we have the card base. I have everything here in the kit. And, okay. So now the first thing we're going to do, you have all of your layers cut for the design. The first thing we're going to do is put in the matte layer. I used all basic white. And in the PDF tutorial, you have a sheet. And it shows you, what I did was I segregated all of the measurements for you. So pull out your basic white cardstock, cut all of your basic white pieces, pull out the color that you're going to use for your card base, cut that, pull out your designer series paper, and you can cut the designer series paper. All of the dimensions are segregated in the PDF tutorial for you. Okay, so we're going to put the matte layer down on the back of the inside of the card front. And I used 1/4 inch layers on this card. Usually I use the 1/8 of an inch, but because there's so many layers, I said the 1/4 inch will look nice on it. And then the pattern paper layer goes on top of that. A lot of layering this month, but that's okay. Okay. That's that. And now we have the front flap, which we're going to work on. So you have a matte layer for that in your card kit. That's this layer that measures 2 1/4 inches by 4. Yeah, all of the layers are 4 inches. All of the basic white layers are 4 inches. So that goes on the front of the flap, the left side flap of the card. Okay, and then the pattern paper layer is 2 inches by 4 inches, and that goes on top of the white matte layer. I just turned it. It kind of is, but it isn't a directional pattern. It's just how you prefer to have your flowers going up or down, but it could go either way. Okay, and that is the front of the card. Okay, now you see how simple it is? So now on this front flap piece that you have, this was the piece that we cut off from the card base. That's going to go here. But what we're going to do is we're going to stamp and decorate it first, and then we'll attach it, okay? So we're going to work on this little front piece, and the matte layer, the front layer, I'm sorry, the white, basic white cardstock layer that you have for that front flap. Attach it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is stamp. Before we put the embellishments on, excuse me, before we put the elements on, we're going to stamp it. And this was one of the stamps from the, what did I say? The Link Together stamp set. That's a really nice stamp set. It has the stencils, and I love, I'm sorry, the masks. Stampin' Up calls them masks. I love playing with those. Okay. So what I did was I combined two stamps, okay? It's, you can customize your stamps, your sentiments with the Link Together stamp set. And it comes with the bundle. And the bundle does include the stencils. So we're going to stamp this in the top right corner. Pretty, isn't it? I love the font. I love mixing but they're pretty fonts. And the fonts are a little bit larger, and the sentiments are a little bit larger, and I like that as well. Okay, so we have the sentiment on here. Now what we're going to do is put all of these little pieces together. You have them all in your card kit. They're in the separate little pouch just so that they don't get lost in the shuffle. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first strip, and these are just decorative strips. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can attach your hearts without using the strip. Since I put the card together this way, I'm going to go ahead and use them. So this strip is 3/4 inches by, I believe, 3 1/4. But hang on one second, I'll tell you. 3/4 inches by 3 1/2. And it's just a little scrap of designer series paper that I used. And sometimes I get a little carried away with the cutting strips. I like to put pieces together. Okay. And then this could go right on the bottom. And what I did here, just make sure you have an even amount of space. Here, here, here. Maybe time for a new blade. Okay, so we're going to put that there. And then there's a small strip of, this one I think is 3 inches by 1/4 inch of the boho blue cardstock, which is what I used on the card base. I don't remember if I told you that or not. Okay, here we go. And this I just put in this way. Really, however you place it, it's going to look beautiful. And then I started with the heart, the boho blue heart that you have. This was from a punch. Lovely Hearts Punch, I think it was called. But from a year or two ago. And I loved it, and I've used it over and over and over again. I love the punches. So this was a punch bundle, and I thought it would just look so pretty. Plus, you know what? They're quicker than die cutting. And when you're putting together the kits, it's quicker, but it looks pretty. And then these two leaves just under the heart. I'm going to stick a little glue. I'm not being that generous with my glue today. Okay, there we go. So you have your old olive leaves. There were so many cards on Pinterest using this punch, like with the heart flying like angels' wings. So they were pretty. It was pretty. This was a very pretty set. I think I put it backwards. Hang on. There we go. Okay. And then I attach the Knight of Navy, little heart. It was really fun to do this, but of course you use whatever elements you have. This is just a guide. It's just a guide on the card design. You use whatever you have, and but you have a design. So you have your layer, your sentiment, a little strip if you want to use it or not, and an element cluster. It could be the hearts, it could be flowers. You can make this in the reds and pinks maybe, and use it for Valentine's Day, and it'll be very nice. Okay, and then you have your two, I think I put two in there for you, Knight of Navy dots, and I don't know where here we go, and that's it. I pulled this from the stack of card kits I had, so there were two in there. And what you're going to do when you attach this to the front of your card, you're going to only put glue on this front layer. You're going to only put glue on the back of the left-hand side. So you put your fingers, just put it down, put your fingers where the glue's going to go, and on the back of the left-hand side, and go maybe about a third up. Okay, like that. It'll look like that, where it's only on the one side. And then you attach it. You don't want to put it on the whole back of this front layer for obvious reasons. You'll stick it to the front of the card and you won't be able to open your card. Okay, so make sure that that's straight. And then on the inside, some put the writing layer here, and you can do that if you want to. I decided I was going to go here with the writing layer. So, because I wanted to cover up this seam as well. So, the writing layer goes on the inside. And you have all of this. You have all of the dimensions. You have everything you need. And I apologize for my little sniffling here. But I'm starting to get a little hoarse, but we're getting better, so it's good. Okay, and just center that, and that is it. The card is finished. You also in both of the kits, you also have your envelope with the piece for the back of the envelope. And these are the two cards for the January customer card kit. Quick, easy, little bit of cutting, but I will tell you this: when you have layered designs like this, you really get proficient with cutting and placing layers. After a while, you don't even need dimensions, because you can kind of, as you're going, oh, that one was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so I'm using 1/4 inch layers, so my next one's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. You just start automatically subtracting in your head, and it goes quickly, but they're fun cards to make. I would call them pretty classic designs, and I hope you enjoyed this. So remember, you can use all of your own supplies, whatever you have, to complete these two cards. Remember to always express your creativity, and the only limitation is your imagination. Have a wonderful rest of day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.